Okay, so the mantles are pre-burned. This is when they're at their most fragile. Um, and anyway, what I should have mentioned before is before I bring any kind of flame to even pre-burn these mantles, I make sure that it's fueled and pressurized, and everything is shut. Meaning I have the air pump closed, I have the valve closed, and the filler cap is snug. Um, then I installed the mantles and pre-burned them, and you saw that. So now this is a really important step to me. I cleared any unnecessary stuff off of the workbench, and there's nothing above me that is in immediate danger, and I have a 5-pound fire extinguisher and some fire gloves. And then on the wall, which you can't see, but in a few steps, there is a fire blanket. So as long as I keep in mind that something could go wrong and I'm aware of it and I think about it um, beforehand, I feel pretty comfortable. So what I'm going to do is preheat this. The whole point, I think the reason that they call this a generator is because it turns raw fuel, camp fuel, white gas or camp fuel, naphtha, is it turns that fuel into vapor. And that's what we want to burn is vapor. That's where we get the glow. Otherwise, if you're burning raw fuel, imagine just putting a match into gas and you get a flame. We don't want a flame. We want to burn vapor. So that's what we're going to prep for. And the way that we do that is to preheat the burner assembly and the generator. So that's what we're going to do. I've got this torch. You could do it with matches. You hold a couple matches along the side of the generator, and then you do 2 more matches and 2 more matches and 2 more matches. You want to do it at least a couple minutes, and this will preheat enough to generate vapor. But since I've got this, that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to start up here at the top. I'll get down below, but I've got to know that, hey, there's fuel in here. And that's not what I want to, I don't want to start burning raw fuel just yet. You just hold this on there, and this could take a couple minutes. But just hold this on there. There is the generator, that's the skinny tube. There's an air intake, that's this fatter tube that the generator feeds into. Then there are 2 burner tubes, 1 for each mantle, and then this mixing chamber. So I'm starting on the mixing chamber up on the top. Mixing chambers look different depending on the model, but you can see the metal is starting to change color, so I know it's getting hot enough. I'm going to do this plenty. Just bear with me. When you get one that, if you do it, it's called a cold start. If you don't do this and you get raw flames, raw fuel burning, and it's just, it's a mess. I mean, it makes a mess of your lantern, and it's kind of embarrassing, and you sweat, you want to grab the fire extinguisher. So we'll just heat this up plenty. Maybe you can see right there how the metal is changing color, so I know I'm getting it hot. So take your time doing this. I mean, it'll be much more enjoyable without the raw flames, is how I look at it. So don't skimp on this. I'm putting heat on this side. I'm going to put my finger over here. Ooh, that's getting hot. So I'm going to move down here. I'll start to get the air tube right above the generator. sometimes if there is fuel in the system, that'll start to ignite. And it's not going to flare up. It will start to make the mantles glow. I'm just heating up the air intake and the burner tubes. And I'm looking for that color change on the metal just to make sure I'm getting it hot enough.
My leg was painful, red, and swollen just doing the crossword puzzle. I could have put off telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
He told his doctor and found out his leg pain, swelling, and redness are due
Some of the older models, these things are brass.
to the lungs and lead to a pulmonary
The mixing chamber, it's a heavy brass casting. They take a lot longer to preheat.
If you have one or more of these symptoms, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
This month on the 11th,
I think that's getting hot.
the way you walk,
That's something when you're
So I'm going to go down and start heating the generator.
all in nation live on opposite sides of the country. They're both writers, they're both parents.
The generator is brass,
They find ways to talk about their
and you'll definitely see a color change in the metal there.
and share their letters and voice memos with us. That's this month on the 11th. Listen now on Odyssey, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You can see down here the color change. So I'm starting to get it hot enough. And remember, this is just a lantern that I picked up. I haven't done anything to it but the few safety checks that you've seen. One other thing I should have mentioned is when I pressurized it in the first video, I looked for fuel around the base of the generator. And that's really important. If that connection at the generator isn't good, you'll get a fuel leak. And then when I go through this step, that'll burn right away. I mean, it'll cause a flame, a raw flame. Yeah, that generator, it's changing colors as I move the flames, so it should be plenty warm. What I'm going to do is operate the tip cleaner. Just to make sure, I'm going to heat it up some more. I think that's probably going to be good. I'll put the globe back in a little bit. Let's see if I preheated. Put a match in there. Open a quarter turn. Yeah. Something's going on, so what I'm going to have to do is make sure the font is properly pressurized, and I'll open the valve a little bit and listen for gurgling. That's the fuel running up the generator. So give me a minute and I'll come right back.